everyone, it's your girl, Princess Naya, aka Naya. Some people call me Kizzy's mum. And I'm here with our podcast, Can I Shit in Peace? We are on season 2, and it's really exciting. Numbers are growing, listenership's growing, and the feedback on social media is really, really growing, which is really great. So today, my focus is going to be touching on some topics that we have been discussing on social media, so that I give you my thoughts and insights onto some of the questions that have been sent in, which is, it's really, really dope. It's nice to be able to do an episode around what the listeners are interested in. And also it's nice because it pushes me to think about things that sometimes perhaps I wouldn't have thought about. So today we're going to be talking about children, obviously, even though sometimes it's not about children, to talk about ourselves. We're going to be talking about raising financially savvy kids versus raising happy children, which is, it should basically be the same when you really think about it. It's just one of the same thing, but is it one of the same thing? And one of the questions that somebody sent in were, what values do you hope to install into Kizzy as she grows older? And I found it a really interesting topic because it's something that I've really spent a lot of time thinking about before she was even born. The financial implications of having a child and bringing them into this particular world in 2020. Well, that was in 2017. But even if you're having a child now in this year, the financial obligations are huge for a very, very basic standard living of life. Not for anything super crazy, not asking for, I'm not looking for Kylie Jenner's daughter Stormy's wardrobe of all these overpriced designer items. I'm talking about food, water, a bit of money to do extracurricular activities, clean clothes, a decent school uniform. All of these things are extremely costly, especially this year because of the cost of living crisis. But when you look back now, 20 years ago, what you were paying for a Kit Kat bar as per what you're paying now, life has really transformed. So my number one value before Kizzy was born is making sure that she was going to be financially educated so that she could live a life of financial freedom, one which I don't feel like I got to live. I spent a lot of my younger days concerned about how I wanted to make sure I had money when I was older. Not having money was a conversation that I heard a lot in my house. And I feel like that motivated me to really focus on career paths, ways of making cash, and ways of making cash. And I don't know. And it's really interesting because maybe I should actually ask my mum, what values did she want to install in me? Because definitely something that I just grew up eager about was just, how am I going to make my own money? How many pairs of trainers am I going to be able to buy? How am I going to have enough money so that I don't have to go to the charity shop? It was very much that type of thing. So me being young, going through that, it was really important that I didn't want Kizzy to go through that. I don't want her to ever have to worry about money. I don't want her to ever have to be overly concerned about not having, but also I want her to be very, how would I say it? Just very respectful of what she does have and be very humble that, she's going to be given great opportunities but not to have that cloud her so that it's all she thinks about. Just really such a weird place to be. So anyway, as I said, the financial education was probably one of my earlier values. She's 6 now, and making sure that she is financially secure. She has her accounts. She has a play account where she can spend money if she wants to buy stuff from the shops. She's got very good at not wanting to spend her own money already. She's only 6, and already as well. We went to TK Maxx a little while ago, and she said she wanted to try on some shoes. I'm like, okay, you've got your money in your bag, so whatever you want, So she's trying on her shoes and trying on all these shoes, and I think there's about 3 pairs, and she's like, yeah, she wants to get all of them. So I was like, okay. I said, well, you don't have enough to get all of them, but you got enough to get this pair. I think they're like £25 or something. And then she was like, oh, so do I have to pay for them? I said, yes, you have to pay for them. And this was like a week before her birthday as well. So I'd already bought her bare things for her birthday. So there's definitely no more money's getting spent. She's like, oh, and I could see her little brain thinking like, okay, so if I buy this, I'm not going to have any money left. And then she was like, yeah, no, she don't want them. She's going to wait and see if she wants to buy something else. And I feel like, then she was 5, nearly 6. And I just remember looking at her thinking, okay, cool. So you're starting to understand that there's value behind this. It's not just cash. You can't just buy everything that you want. And you have to learn to spend your own money, because when you spend your own money, it just feels different. And maybe by her spending her own money now and understanding it better, she'll understand when she's asking for things of magnitude, when she gets them, she'll understand how hard mummy and daddy have worked to present her those things, as opposed to she can just get them. And then in the same breath, I think to myself, okay, cool, but we've been taught in our earlier years that it's very important to work hard so that you can, you get paid big. But really and truly, working hard is important, but also is working smart, because if you are really teaching your child about financial freedom or financial education, then the lesson needs to be about how you leverage and not just about how you save. I think we've been taught you make money, save money. It's like you make money, save money, put it in the bank, and then a bank invest your money to get more money for themselves, and you get like pittance of interest. And that's basically been the old lesson. So how do I introduce a new conversation that she's understanding about making money from her money, so that when she sleeps, her money's making money? And yeah, she's only 6. I get it, like she is only 6 years old. But I just think that these conversations are really important earlier on, so that they make better decisions when they're in their teens, because they understand small things that, you explained to them when they were little. So, like when Kizzy was 2, I think she was 2, we got her a Wendy house for the garden. And I think that Christmas was lockdown, or she could have been 3. That Christmas was lockdown, so there were no grottos open. So we basically I got Santa to call Kizzy and ask her, could he hire her house for the day, so he could lease it for the day, so that he could do the grotto. And she had a conversation with him on the phone, and when he came, he said, thank you for letting me use your house, here's your rent. He paid her £5. And it's not a lesson in that moment that I think she would understand, but when I let her watch it the other day and we watched the video together, it's like you could see her little brain ticking over. And she has a car, she's had a car, we got her one of those, those electric kid cars when she was 4. So she's had it a couple of years now. So she was saying, Mum, do you think that we could let people use my car? And I was like, okay, why would you want to do that? And then she was like, because if we let people use their car, then maybe they could pay £5 as well. And that, for me, was like a penny drop, like bang, okay, cool, you're 6 and you're getting it now and you're understanding it. And it really made me smile, because it made me think, okay, your brain is stretched. I don't know if the brain is stretched because of what I've done, or I don't know if it's just because of her soul and who she is and how she understands things. But for me, these are the values that I want to teach my daughter. I want to teach her about financial freedom and how not to be a slave to your job, and how if you can get yourself on top of being financially free, then you will have a better chance at, being happy and having happiness, because you won't have the worldly stresses of life dragging you down. And that's to say if she wants to live in the Western world. You could get happiness living, very, 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 with nothing, You could move, we could get her a little hut in Jamaica, and she loves the beach, and that might be Kizzy's sweet spot. That might be her happiness, and she might say, I don't care about all that stuff. Don't want to earn loads of money. I just want to sit on the beach, and this is what I want to do. But I think, unfortunately, we are in a generation where wealth just makes those things a little bit more achievable. So at the same time as really drumming in financial education to Kizzy, I spend a lot of time with her, practicing gratitudes, but gratitudes for stuff that we're really, really grateful for, and not just saying, I'm grateful because it was my birthday and I got given 50 quid or I got all these toys. It's like, what are you grateful for today? Like, we woke up, we had breakfast together, we sat down, you sang me a song, and feeling grateful for just the small things that we take for granted every single day, because we are forced into the world of make money, get cash, so we can do stuff. And then by the time you get to do stuff, you're so tired, it's like, am I even enjoying this? So, the question of what values do you install in Kizzy, it really, really varied. But I really do hope that my fundamentals are happiness and financial education. And the financial education is if she wants to exist in the world as it is today. Because without it, we just have a lot of boundaries, and it's tough. So, yeah. Okay, another question that someone messaged in said, what advice do you give to parents who are struggling balancing parent life and their career? So it's like balancing your family and your career. This is a really tough question, because for me, I feel really, really blessed that I am an entrepreneur. So my business works around my schedule. When I had Kizzy, I made a really, really important decision that nothing was going to come before her, even finances. Like, she has to come first, and I have to make sure that everything else fits around her. How I done that is that I included her. So my advice is include your children in as much as you're doing outside of them as you can, in the stuff you're willing to. Because don't get me wrong, everyone needs parent time. And when I go to work, I like to have this is my time because I enjoy it. But if you can include them in some of it, then it allows them to be in a little bit of your life out that is not really including them. And then they feel, wow, I was with Mummy, went to Mummy's workplace, or, I saw Daddy a day at work and I got to wave at him, or whatever it is, just very, very small. I would try and include them and carve out time for them that doesn't get mixed up with anything else, which is tough. I mean, Kizzy really enjoys a phone-free Friday. So on a Friday after Stagecoach, we sit down, she picks a board game, the TV's not on, there's no technology, she picks up everyone's phones and they all sit in a corner for a few hours until she goes to bed, and we play a board game. Last week we tried to teach her how to play blackjack. It was an epic fail, but we had fun doing so, and we just carve out time that we can. And not loads and loads of time, because in this day and age, it's just really tough. But just try and carve out a little bit of time where you give them that one-on-one, so that they feel like you're making an effort. In a world where everything's moving so quickly, I think we're so used to looking at our phones that we don't realise that our children are just watching us look at our phones. And then we're saying to them, get off your iPad. And it's like, yeah, but you're on your phone all the time. It's just, to them, it's the same thing. So I think, just giving them a little bit of technology-free time, and do not be hard on yourself. I think parents are very hard on themselves, especially mums, because mum does core caretaker vibes at home. So, by the time you've cleaned the house, you've gone to work, you've taken the kids to school, you've picked them up, you've done the swimming, you've washed the hair, you've got them back, you've fed them. The last thing you want to do is then spend another hour doing some bullshit. And it sounds so rude to say bullshit, but it's like, man, I'm tired, I can't do this right now. But if you make a specific time, then at least if your children are bugging, then you can say, well, look, this is what we do on this day, and I do not compromise on that day. That day is your day. So then they feel like you've prioritized them. So I think that is really, really, really important as well. So moving on to another question. How do you teach your child to be resilient and handle setbacks and failures? This is a crazy one, because I still feel like I'm really navigating this. Kizzy is a child that likes to win, and everything is a competition. And even with me, I'm like, all right, already, you just dance on your own. I don't want to dance next to you. And if I dance next to you and Daddy's a judge and he says Mummy's won, there's tears, So, but I learned, my sister-in-law, her daughter and my daughter are very, very close. And her daughter's 3 years older than Kizzy. And I remember her telling me a story that she had lost at a game. She was around her dad's house. So the child was around her granddad's house. And she was crying. And then she was saying, stop crying, man. It's not every time you can win. I was chilling her, basically. She was just crying for no reason. And her dad said, no, let her cry. Because when you fail, when you lose and you cry, it means you really wanted to win, which means you're going to try even harder next time to win. And I don't know, it kind of resonated with me in letting your children feel their emotions and not telling them to stop. We do tell them to stop a lot of the times. Stop crying, stop moaning, stop doing this, stop jumping on the couch. It's a lot of stop, no. And I think that letting them feel their pain is important, because as they get older, they will be able to handle and feel rejection and losing, which they will, because it's inevitable in life. and they will get through it and build resilience as they get older. I think shielding them from that is detrimental. I don't feel like it works. I feel like you need to fall over, you need to cut your knees, you need to bleed, and you need to understand how that feels, so that when it happens again, it's like, oh, it's already happened, so I know what this is going to feel like. Whereas if you always catch your child before they fall, when they're 18 and they fall in life when you're not there, they're not going to know how to handle that. And that's my point of view. That's my perception of it. And I come from and maybe that's because I've grown up with my mum always trying to shield me, help me, hold me. Like, I remember when I got my first job, she was so anti me working in Watford because it was so far. Back then, she said it was very racist. She was really worried about me. She was scared. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to college, man. I need the check. And my first job there was Foot Locker. And I remember thinking, I'm going to get discount on trainers. Like, it's the coolest shop to work in. Like, I'm working there. And I remember tallied up my wages. It was very poor for then. But anyway, I tallied it up. I said, well, if you can give me this money each month, then I won't work. And she said, on your way. Off you go. So I think that if I'd have listened to my mum in that instance, her protection and her caring and wanting to protect me, I don't feel like I would have taken as many chances as I have in my life, because that was a risk. It was a chance. It was really, really far. I was told point blank, like at that time in like 2000 and whenever it was, maybe, when did I work there? Could have been even... Yeah, it's like the year 2000, I think I worked there. There was not a lot of black people or Asians. It was very, very, very white. And my mum was worried for my well-being. So I carried that on the train with me. I remember thinking, something potentially could happen to me on the train because of the colour of my skin. But I really want this job, really like the job, and I want to be there, and I'm going to do this. And it was fine. I never got into any issues. Actually, once I did, but that's because I had the Foot Locker stripes on, and I think there was a big football game, and it was Newcastle versus someone. I remember them going crazy, and the store manager at the time said, when you're travelling back to London, Naya, because they knew I travelled all the way from Watford, and back then it just felt like it was a city away, make sure you take your stripes off or cover them up. Don't be on the train with your stripes on because it's going down. And I remember being on the train thinking, oh, God, something bad's going to happen. But outside of that, it was just a very smooth sailing job. And I still have really amazing friends that I met when I worked there to this day that are like, one of the guys that I met when I worked there, and I was like 16 then, he's like Kizzy's godfather. So it's like, sometimes you want to protect your children and you don't realise what potentially you're setting them up for that could be positive in their lifetime, not just in the next couple of years. So, yeah, I think it's just the best thing to do is let them fall, let them pick themselves up and tell them that you love them and you're always here for them. But things like this do happen and it's not a bad thing, There's highs and lows. And there's a little boy on the internet that's singing this song, it's a Jamaican song, and you've probably heard it where he says, they say, thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, and thank you for pain. And Kizzy sings this song every night before bed. And I highlight it to her. It's like, we're thanking for everything. And she sang it to my mum the other day. My mum was like, did I hear you say thank you for pain? No, thank you for pain. And, my computer's gone absolutely mad in the background here. I don't know if you can hear that. But anyway, we move. Yeah, we had a little bit of interference there. I'm recording a podcast myself. I record it on my laptop, and I use GarageBand. For those budding podcast people that want to be a podcaster out here, get yourself a GarageBand and a microphone. And I left an audio track open on one of the tracks. Shows you my sound engineer skills are shit. But anyway, so yeah, I think that we was just closing on the fact that let your children feel pain. And no, we was talking about the song. So Kizzy sings a song and she says, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. She sang it to my mum, and my mum was like, thank you for pain, no thanks. And I said to my mum, well, if you're never thankful for the pain, how can you expect to feel the joy? Because in life, it's a game of highs and lows and a game of winning and losing. And any success story you hear or you see, you will know that they go through great tragedy at the same time as winning, because it's the way that the world is set up and the way that life is. It's like the yin and yang law. So be thankful for both, because if you're only thankful for one, then maybe you will never ever get to experience the high. Because if you're only thankful for highs and they come really far and few between because you're only hitting the lows, it's like, be thankful for them, because with lows come highs. It's just the way it is. It gets dark at night and you wake up and it's bright. It's just the way that it is. So that would be that's my bite-sized takeaway. Just let them live in the pain sometimes, and let them appreciate it. So yeah, okay, we're going to go for the last question now because I don't want to bore you guys to death. The last question is, how do you encourage your child to embrace their individuality to pursue their passions, even if they're completely different from yours? This is a really, really good question, because I only have one child, but I suppose having more than one child would give different personalities and different career paths. And my first love is when I was a child was performing, singing, acting. I really wanted to be a TV presenter. Anything where I could be talking in front of the camera, I loved. And I shied away from it at some stage because my mum told me that those particular career paths just don't get cash. So get a job. And going through being someone that's been in the music industry, it is a tough place, and you need the thickest skin to be in the entertainment industry than anyone ever on the planet. And I don't feel like anyone is ever prepared for the success when it comes, because it is really, really tough. It is so tough. The open criticism that comes from everyone is just really difficult to deal with sometimes as one little tiny human in a world full of billions of people. So for me, Kizzy having a music career is not top of my list. I would really like Kizzy to be financially free so she could do whatever she wants, whenever she wants, and enjoy life and go to, Kizzy's got a gratitude book that her auntie bought her for her, I think it's her birthday or maybe Christmas. And in it says, what places do you want to visit? And on her list is Rio de Janeiro and New York. And you're 6 years old, what do you know about Rio de Janeiro? So I asked her, why Rio de Janeiro? And she didn't write de Janeiro, she wrote Rio-D, just so we're clear. And I said, why did you write that? Why did you write Rio de Janeiro? Why do you want to go there? And she said, because that's where the carnival is. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Someone's been doing a bit of research at school or somewhere, because I don't know where you found that out, but great. And she loves music. My daughter loves music. She can name more songs than me. She wants to sing all the time, wants to dance all the time, wants to be the center of attention all the time. It's the Kizzy show. It's the watch what I'm going to do. And for me, how I encourage that is that I allow her time to be creative at home. I enroll her in the after-school clubs that make sense to her. I don't push her into anything. I don't say, do this. I say, would you like to do that? So she does stagecoach and she does street dance. But if she didn't genuinely enjoy those things, just because I come from a background of that, wouldn't push it onto her, because I don't feel like it's her responsibility to do what I done. I feel like it's her responsibility to find out how to just be happy, And I feel like there's a lot of pressure put on many children. Go to school because you've got to get a good job. And I feel like the generation after us are realizing that we're tapped. Who wants to work, 5 days in a week and have 2 days off? Even when you say it out loud, I saw a video on Instagram, and it's a little kid. I'm actually going to post it up. I'm going to post it up onto the Instagram page so you can have a look. And after this video, I'll post it up. And it's a little Chinese boy, and he is crying, saying, but why are we going to school for 5 days and resting for 2? Why not rest for 5 and go to school for 2 days? Make it make sense. And it's it's the truth. So what do we teach our children? How do we teach them? And it kind of goes back to the topic, and it's money versus happiness. And I've been through a lot the past 2 years. I suffer with daily chronic headaches, which you've probably heard me talk about because I'm very, very open about it. So some days for me, every single day I have a headache. Some days it's really, really bad and it's debilitating to the point where I can't get up. And then other days I can crack on. Today I have a headache, but I can crack. It's cool. I can hang. So for me today, health over everything, because good health brings happiness without you even realizing it until your health is taken away. So for me, being financially comfortable today feels good, but I would give every penny up I have, every money, every future fund for Kizzy, I would give it all over in a heartbeat if you said to me, that will take your headache away. So I think the major key is balance, self-care, look after yourself, which will then help you to be happy. Because I feel like, yeah, every day I have happy moments in every single day, but my main struggle and battle is not money, it's my health. And no one tells you that when you're small, because you're little and you're nimble and you're flexible and you can do everything that you want. And we're not taught to look after ourselves. We're taught to slave away 5 days a week, burn out, and then spend our older years fixing brittle bones, bags under your eyes, and a lifetime of chasing so that you can either fit in or just have cash. So yeah, it is really, really insane. And it's an insane turnaround for me as to where I was when I just had Kizzy. My number one for Kizzy when she was born is wealth. And as she's 6 years old, is happiness and is also health. So as much as she's doing the dance and the stagecoach, which are great because they keep her fit, she's doing her swimming, she does yoga at home, she eats an amazing balanced diet. And she doesn't just eat an amazing balanced diet, she understands why. She understands that, I'm going to have a treat, so I'm going to eat a few healthy snacks before that. And just being healthy is my key takeaway. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening. I hope that you found some information useful, what I was talking about today. And thank you to everyone that sent in questions. We're probably going to do another episode with questions that people have sent in, because I found them really, really useful. And yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Please make sure you check out our blog, www.tiredassmum.co.uk. Lots of useful information up there. And if you're not following the Instagram already, it's just @tiredassmum. Yeah, and you can come follow me if you want. I post some dumb shit. And yeah, I have a really great time doing it. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening. God bless. I pray hard.